Alright, the standard form equation of a circle centered at hk and a radius length r. So standard form, this is what we learned in class. We know that this is what that looks like. It's good that this worksheet has you write that first, because that's really all you're doing is using this as a formula and plugging in the values that you know. So just to reiterate here, k is the y value for the center of the circle, and h is the x value for your center, while r is just the radius. Okay, so center and radius, that's all you need for standard form. Of course, if you don't have the center and radius, you need to find a way to find it. But for these first two questions, they give you the center. Here's your h, here's your k, and then they also give you your radius. Let's just plug them in. So notice here, since our k value is negative, I have y minus -1. So you should notice that this should really be y plus 1. And then 6 squared, pretty easy, right? 36. So this is the standard form of the standard form equation for that circle centered at 7, -1 with a radius of 6. Same thing here. So when you have something like this squared, you can think of it, of course, the meaning of a square is multiplying by itself. Now naturally, since these numbers are next to each other, they're being multiplied. So this is 3 times rad 2. And this is 3 times rad 2. But here I can just multiply 3 and 3 to get 9. And then rad 2 and rad 2 to get rad 4, which is just 2. So my radius here is actually 18. So, come on now. Not 18 squared, but 18. We already squared it when we got 18. Okay. Given the standard form of the equation of a circle, identify the center and radius, and then sketch the graph. So the center, remember, is h k. So we have here 3, 2. If you put -3 and or -2 for your center, you're not reading the equation properly. It's x minus h, y minus k. So if your h and k were negative, then you'd have, for example, x plus 1, or x plus 2, or y plus 1, or y plus 10. But in this case, both of these are negative. We know that both of these should be positive. This is the radius squared, 9. So the radius, you should know, you gotta take the square root of both sides to find the actual, just plain old radius. If the radius squared is 9, then the radius is 3. Okay, so now let's plot this. We know that the center is at 3, 2. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Here's our center. And if our radius is 3, the easiest way to do this is to, from the center, go to the right 3, go up 3, to the left 3, and down 3. And then you can just try to draw the circle as best as you can. It's kind of hard. If you have a compass, that would be easiest. Okay, notice here x plus 3 squared, y plus 1 squared. So we should know that the center, both of these values are negative. So negative 3 comma negative 1. 1, 2, 3, down 1. Here's the center of our circle. And if our radius squared is 16, then our radius must be 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's where our circle goes. Cool. Okay, so this one gives you a point on the circle in the center. It doesn't give you the radius. You got to notice that. So if I were to do a quick sketch of this, let's see. We know that the center is at negative 5 comma 14. Let's say right there. Let's put a circle down. I think we can change it as we go. Okay. And the point on the circle is negative 4 comma 10. So negative 4 comma 10. It's pretty close. Like right here. So let me make this smaller. So it looks about like this. There we go. So given the center of the circle and a point on the circle, we can find the radius. If you want to use distance formula, you can. Change in your x's squared plus the change in your y's. I like to think about it visually, as I've shown you. Change in my x's from negative 4 to negative 5 is just 1. The change in my y's from 14 to 10 is 4. Okay. So I should have that the radius is the square root of 1 squared plus 4 squared, which gives me 17 under the square root. So let's see if we get the same thing here. Negative 5 minus negative 4 is just negative 5 plus 4. And then 14 minus 10 is 4. So I end up with 1 plus 16, because negative 1 squared is just 1. Negative 1 times negative 1 is 1. Okay, so now I have my radius, and I have the center of the circle, so now I can write the equation. X plus 5 squared. Remember, since our h is negative, we need x plus 5. And I can plug in square root 17 squared, like this, but we should know that squaring a square root just gets rid of both of them. Essentially cancels it out. Okay, so there's my equation for that circle. This question's very much the same. It gives you the ends of the diameter. So the difference here is you need to find the midpoint first. Midpoint's just the average of the x's. So what's the average of 3 and negative 11? Well, 3 minus 11 is negative 8. Cut that in half, you get negative 4. negative 3 and 15. Negative 3 plus 15 is 12. Cut that in half, I get 6. So there's my center. Now to find the radius, I need to find the distance from negative 4. Let me highlight this. From negative 4 to 3, and then from 6 to negative 3. So I'm just using these 2 points, the center and this point. You can use the center and this point if you want. But I think this will be easier. So negative 4 minus 3 squared. This is a distance formula. 6 minus negative 3 squared. You get negative 7 squared plus 6 minus negative 3 is 6 plus 3. So we have 49 plus 81 all under the square root. That should be 130. It's square root 130. So now I can write my equation. Here we go. Given the ends of the diameter. Alright, this says complete the square twice to transform the equation. Okay, so these are written in general form. We need them in standard form so we can identify the radius and its center, the center of the circle. So we have to group the x's together, as I taught this in class, make a space, group the y's together, and make a space so we can add something. And then while we're at it, let's subtract 100 from both sides. Remember, if I added something on the left side, I got to add something on the right side. Move this over a bit. Okay, that something that I add here, take this number and cut it in half, and then square that number. Half of negative 20 is negative 10. If I square that, I get 100. Half of 8 is 4. When I square that, I get 16. So remember, I got to add these to both sides. You'll notice that these cancel, so we just have 16. And then the whole point is to complete the square. This is completing the square. In short, I just take half of this number, 8, which is positive 4, so I get this. And then when I'm completing the square, when I'm factoring this, I just take half of 20. There's my equation. I think I'll make a video explaining this more in depth. So we know that the center is 10 comma negative 4, and the radius equals 4, because the radius squared is 16. Okay.